Swadika, good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nabuna.
I'm Frank Kanchi.
Another day, another update in Thai politics because the Prime Minister Anutin has finally delivered his policy statement to Parliament, and as expected, he has covered several issues, whether it's the economy, social issues, but initially we found out that there were 4 urgent issues, but this time there's up to 5.
Yes, so a lot of issues that Prime Minister Anutin has to tackle immediately because it's all urgent issues. Because right now he only has 4 months.
Exactly, only 4 months in office, and there are a lot of things to address. So Prime Minister Anutin has delivered his policy statement to Parliament outlining 15 policies under 5 urgent issues, namely on the economy, national security, social issues, environment and natural disasters, and government administration. So the government administration part is the additional urgent issue that has been included. So if we look into some of the policies for the economy, Anutin prioritized increasing the income, reducing cost of living, tackling household debt, rebuilding trust among tourists, and tackling impacts from trade tariffs. As for national security, Anutin also prioritized de-escalating border tensions between Thailand and Cambodia and de-escalating conflicts in deep southern provinces. The Prime Minister has also outlined priorities such as curbing illegal gambling, corruption, as well as protecting religions. He also vowed to improve the disaster warning systems to cope with natural disasters and to move the country towards a low-carbon society. This is actually new information that is coming out from Anutin today. And apart from this, he also mentioned digitalizing and centralizing the government administration while also improving laws and regulations. And after delivering the policy statement, Anutin reassured that the policies have been carefully considered and that these can be implemented quickly, and therefore he asked the MPs and the people to believe in his government. And regarding the inclusion of outsiders in his cabinet, Anutin reassured that these ministers are highly experienced and are qualified to take part in this government to solve issues and address the underlying problems in Thai society. And most importantly, as the Prime Minister, he will not be manipulated or influenced by anyone, and that he will make his own decisions for the sake of the nation and the people. So This has some sort of hidden agenda there. Like where he said he will not be manipulated or influenced by anyone. Maybe he's trying to imply the previous government.
Yes, but what does that mean though? At this moment, of course, we understand that for Anutin Chanvirakul and his cabinet list there, actually, he, of course, had a lot of network and connections on the ground, no matter in business and in politics too. And right now, of course, we talk about outsiders getting into the cabinet. We have no surprise about the 4+1 urgent policies here. This about the influence and manipulation there. Of course, right now he said that he's the leader and he's the strongman of the country right now. It's not just Thai, but Thailand too. So how to solve the issues there is very important for us to monitor, Ned.
And his ability to drive the country forward is being questioned by the opposition, and that was led by Thai MP Cholana Sigao, who scrutinized Anutin's policy statements. He questioned whether the policies are suitable, good enough, or that the government knows how to implement these policies, especially within a very short period of time, and also the limited budget, because we have to keep in mind that Anutin has only 4 months in office. This is going to be very challenging for the Anutin government. And Cholanan also criticized how Anutin did not mention the redrafting of the constitution, which was agreed prior to the voting of Anutin in becoming the next prime minister, because it has been agreed that to gain support from the opposition in order for Anutin to become the next prime minister, he has to promise that he will redraft the constitution and dissolve the parliament within 4 months.
Yes, this is one of the most important promises with People's Party to get their vote. So to push, of course, Anutin Chanvirakul to become the prime minister this time. And so it's quite interesting that he didn't talk about the redrafting of constitutional law here, because this is pretty important, as in we want to see, I mean, according to political analysts, they want to see next step of Thailand's politics. They don't want to get the well inside the current politics, of course, endorsed by the constitutional law now. But we haven't seen that, Ned.
Well, so far, the People's Party, Thai and Thai already submitted their own. They have already submitted their own version of the draft bills, which will pave the way for the redrafting of the constitution. But there are differences in the details of how it would be redrafted, as well as the constitution drafters as well. So there are some details that are yet to be revealed. But then, how will this be resolved?
We understand right now, of course, it's the first day for Prime Minister Anutin Chanvirakul to give policy statement in the parliament. So maybe he doesn't want to open the Pandora box yet, because as what you said, Thai Party, People's Party, they have their own version of new constitution too. So they don't want to disclose right now. Maybe we have to wait a bit this week.
And regardless, when we look at the opinion polls, it looks like Anutin has becoming much more popular nowadays, especially with the results that came out. And some actually think that Anutin is the most outstanding government politician. And at the same time, his government's co-payment plus scheme, or the 50-50 co-payment scheme, is the most favored policy among those voters. And apart from that, there are also other policies that they really like, one of them being not reopening the borders with Cambodia and the policies to reduce the cost of living. And that is why Anutin is gaining much more popularity and appreciation from the voters as well. But on the other side, there's another opinion poll that says that the People's Party leader is more favored by respondents. So we see both sides. Some supporting Anutin and some supporting Nattapong Rirpanyawut as well.
It's very obvious, I think, this time, because I understand that right now the short-term policy is what you called co-payment scheme, that this would really attract people on the ground. Of course, reduce cost of living. They got a lot of extra or disposable income in their pocket too, because with this scheme. But as what you said, what about people's party head there? Because another part of people on the ground, they want to see change in politics. So maybe next election could be very crucial.
And Anutin did promise in Parliament today, though, that if we start from 1st of October, his term will end, or actually he might dissolve Parliament at the end of January next year. So hopefully there might be an election after that, or unless he decides to extend it.
Right, but according to the promise with People's Party, of course I will understand, of course, Kun Anutin would like to keep that promise that we will have 4-month governance and not election coming up. But as what you said, anything can happen in Thailand's politics, so we don't know what would that happen in the future.
Exactly. Now let's move on to this issue, which is related to the ongoing border tensions between Thailand and Cambodia. And yesterday, during the UN General Assembly, Sihasak Phongketgao, the foreign minister of Thailand, also took to the stage to say something about the border conflicts.
Right. One very important sentence he said to the GA and members of UNGA that it's about we want to pursue peace between Thailand and Cambodia. But actually, he also gave a very strong stance about Thailand's standpoint between the conflicts with Cambodia. So Sihasak was speaking in Parliament on the first day of Anutin Chanwudakun's delivery of his policy statement. And quote, Thailand has not closed the door to dialogue. There are two options. One leads to increased conflicts and loss, and the other, through sincere dialogue, ensures safety and peace. Anutin and his government have 4 months to govern the country, a condition set by the opposition People's Party exchange for its MP support for Anutin's nomination for the premiership earlier this month. With this support, Anutin defeated Perthai's candidate Chaikasen Nidisiri. When asked if the conflict should be settled bilaterally, the foreign minister said they should be addressed within a bilateral framework and that there is no need to take the issue to the international stage. But if it is using distorted and one-sided facts, it will not help resolve the situation. So Ned, is what we always talk about. Thailand wants to really fix this issue, fix these conflicts with Cambodia by our bilateral mechanism there. So many bilateral meetings that we have taken this time, but we haven't seen resolution yet. And the foreign minister delivered a statement at the UN General Assembly in New York on Sunday, accusing Cambodia of portraying itself as the victim and distorting facts in the ongoing border dispute. The foreign minister claimed to UN members that Cambodia has made a mockery of the truth, adding that he was compelled to rewrite his prepared statement after hearing the most regrettable remarks from his Cambodian counterpart earlier in the day. So this is in diplomatic world, regrettable means we are very sorry to hear that from the Cambodian counterpart. To his dismay, Cambodia continued to present itself as the victim. Quote, and time again, it has portrayed its own version of the fact, which does not hold up to scrutiny because it is simply a distortion of the truth, unquote. Sihasak said his speech at the UN was a good opportunity to express Thailand's stance and that he was pleased to fulfill his assigned duty, adding that everything went according to plan. On the sidelines of the UNGA, the United States hosted a dialogue between Thailand, Cambodia, and Malaysia, the current ASEAN chair, regarding the ongoing border conflicts, despite the ceasefire agreement. Sihasak said Thailand has already explained its stance and believes that the international community now better understands the Thai position. In the past, Cambodia had presented one-sided information to gain an advantage despite previous talks at which both sides had agreed to look forward, adhere to prior agreement, and act in good faith. So Nat, I understand that Thailand's position, our position as Thailand, that we want to maintain peace, we want to accelerate the dialogues in between. But now, of course, according to Quincy Hassad, Cambodian counterpart this time trying to give distorted information again and playing as victims on the international stage. But Quincy Hassad said that that's not true.
He actually mentioned during an interview recently that he had to change his speech last minute, especially after the Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister said something on stage. So he had to change all these statements last minute.
Yeah, to balance that point, of course, Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister said, quote, continue on unilateral moves to impose territorial sovereignty from our neighbor using forces instead of agreement mechanisms, unilateral maps instead of internationally recognized ones, and countless other action undermine trust building and peace efforts, unquote. This is from the Cambodia side.
We see both sides, Cambodia and Thailand, and talking about their side of the border conflicts. And despite the discussions, especially bilateral discussions, whether it's the RBC meeting, GBC and JBC meetings, they have made several agreements to de-escalate the border tensions, but it looks like the progress is not going in the right pace at the moment, because we still see conflicts here and there. We still hear shootings, particularly at Chong An Ma, which is where the recent clashes just took place.
Yeah, as what you said, conflicts between, still see that in this time, as what you said, GBC, RBC, all those meetings, mechanisms, trying to help Thailand and Cambodia to de-escalate tensions, but we haven't seen crossroads between two countries there. So as media perspective, we still monitoring what happened on the ground, but really we haven't seen resolution yet.
Exactly, and actually CSAC has made a clear and strong message to the UN General Assembly and also to the press as well. And now let's move on to the story. We're now going to talk about maternity leave.
Yes,
and in most countries, women would get at least 14 to 18 weeks of paid maternity leave, while some countries get as much as 26 weeks. So what is it like in Taiwan?
I think in Taiwan we have suitable weeks, not to 26 weeks like in some Western countries, but we still have some weeks to give it to pregnant women and to take care of themselves after the delivery.
Yeah, but for the case of Thailand,
what about in Thailand?
New mothers in Thailand usually get a maximum of 14 weeks, and that is equivalent to 98 days. Half of the days are full pay, and the rest would be under the Social Security Fund, and another 8 days unpaid. But recently, a new bill was passed earlier this month, which grants 4 months or 17 weeks of maternity leave and 15 days of paternity leave. So this is slightly good news for new mothers here in Thailand, and this new bill will take effect 30 days after being published in the Royal Gazette. So under this new law, new mothers will receive 60 days of leave with full pay from their employers and up to 60 additional days covered by the Social Security Office at 50% salary capped at 15,000 baht per month. So these are the recent changes that have been listed in this new bill. And the bill was spearheaded by the opposition People's Party MP, who actually at first, he initially sought 180 days of paid leave for new mothers, which they believe that, well, at least 120 days of maternity leave will have a significant impact for the working people and also a step forward for labor welfare. And in fact, his party is also pushing for a maximum 40-hour working week, an increase in annual leave from 6 to 10 working days, and paid leave for looking after sick relatives. So how interesting is that? And that could be good news for many people.
Yeah, for the record, I think Taiwan, according to the law, give it to 8 weeks. So it's similar to Thailand's regulations here. But it's very interesting because this time we talk about maternity leave. It's not just about, of course, the rights for women too, but this also links to aging society too, because right now people do not want to have children because we have to pay more. For now, of course, we cannot meet already, and right now we have to take care of our children. So this could be a way for governments, for people on the ground to get more willing to have babies at the end.
And even though this is a fundamental right for workers, especially women who have to raise their children, take care of the household, and actually making ends meet for the whole family. But the challenge to this bill goes way beyond how many days you will get parental leave. Whether it's paid or unpaid, the challenges go way beyond that, because Thailand is currently facing a declining birth rate where 460,000 births were recorded last year, and this is already much lower than the death rate. So this is becoming a downward trend, not just in Thailand, but also in many Asian countries. And past governments in Thailand have been trying to implement policies to increase the birth rate here in Thailand, as well as to improve the quality of medical services in hopes to encourage people to have families and to have babies as well. But there are still a lot of factors discouraging people from the newer generation from having children. So there are a lot of issues. One of the top reasons is financial burden, because like you said, Frank, the rising cost of living, whether it's paying their rent, their transportation costs, or even other responsibilities, especially those in the lower income group, they still have to send money to their parents who are living in other provinces. And apart from the financial burden, there's also job insecurity and the loss of career opportunities as well, because some women believe that if they are away from their jobs for a certain period of time, it would become much more difficult to catch up, or even it might block them from getting career opportunities such as promotions, or in worst cases, they might even lose their jobs as well. So this is something that worries a lot of women at the moment, whether it's the financial burden or the career opportunities. So imagine having one baby, just one baby, considering that you have to come to work, not knowing when you will have to be in labor, and then you take maternity leave, and if you come back to work, it requires a lot of catching up.
Yeah, and actually I interviewed one expert in aging society, and this is one of the part that why Thai people do not want to have babies. They don't want to have children anymore because firstly, as what you said, financial burden, they have to pay so much. Debts, transportation costs, rising cost of living right now is very high too. So how can they have babies? How can they really take care of their next generation? So most of them right now, they don't want to have babies anymore. And as what you said, birth rate right now is so much lower than death rate. So by 2050, we might only see 33 million people in Thailand, whereas right now we have more than 70 million. So it's a very alarming quote there. And job insecurity, and I totally understand this one. Like you have been away, as what you say, 7 weeks or 8 weeks from jobs, and finally you come back, you might lose your job.
And if you're lucky enough, you might return to your job, but then what about career opportunities? Like I've interviewed a few women before when they were talking about when they were pregnant and working at the same time. They're often questioned about whether they can really do both between parenting and leading a business. So this remains a challenge for many women. And when it comes to women at work, we have to admit one thing. We're still in this patriarchal society where women are still expected to do both, parenting and working and being like a super mom, super woman, and everything all at once. But then when you're able to execute everything, you still get questioned as to what about your kids at home? What about cooking? Who's going to cook for your kids at dinner or at lunchtime? You still get questioned about this all the time. So this is one of the concerns that women are still facing in this era. Despite that, there are more women in leading positions, whether it's in business or politics or any of these male-dominated careers. So women are still dealing with this bias that whether it's the bias or the expectations that they still have to raise their kids and to take good care of their husbands.
Yeah, so change the mindset and concept in the society.
Yeah, but if we bring the feminist perspective into this one, is that most women nowadays don't think that they need to have children because some people say that people have higher education, so they have more opportunities at work, or they can be independent business owners as well. So they have more options to choose from for their future. So as some people may think that having children is like something that would be expected in the old days, but some people say that they can actually do both between parenting and work at the same time. But some people will also think that if they have children, they would have to sacrifice their jobs as well. So it really depends on the individual as to whether they want to have children or whether they want to focus at work first.
Yeah. But I think at the end, policy intervention is very important for the government too. As what you said, maternity leave revision in the parliament or by the government could really help to boost the birth rate this time, but it's pretty low, too low for us to see. And it's downward trend as what you said. So how can that be revitalized again?
Yes, and can the increased maternity leave boost the birth rate? This will be a very huge challenge for the government at the moment, because if we compare Thailand with other countries, we are still lagging behind in terms of the welfare for laborers, because some countries so for women in some countries, they can take up to almost 1 year, but Thailand is still like far behind.
Yeah, right. So I think today is a very alarming call too for Thailand to really boost their birth rate in the future. How can we really succeed it, no matter it's by maternity leave or other policy interventions? Very key.
Exactly. All right, and that's all for this edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Join us every Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Thai PBS World's Facebook and YouTube Live. You can also follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest stories and analyses about Thailand. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ